Today, I wanted to share my experience with you where I almost got banned from donating plasma. But before I do, I wanted to thank everybody that has subscribed to this channel. We are less than 20 subscribers away from 1,000, and that is a huge milestone. So thank you so much for watching and subscribing. And if you haven't subscribed yet, it'd be so appreciated if you'd consider doing that. So yeah, thank you. I was almost banned from donating plasma. This is when I was going to Grifols Biomat, and this is what happened. So to give you some background, plasma centers will take blood samples, I think about every 6 months, just to run some tests and just make sure that you're still eligible to donate. They'll also test the plasma, obviously, to make sure that it is good quality enough and is going to not pose a risk to the patient that would receive the plasma products. And so they're always screening your blood, screening your plasma. I was pulled aside by a nurse before I was able to donate one day, and they told me, you know, actually, we can't have you donating. We tested your plasma, and it shows that your ALT levels are too high. So ALT, and I got an information sheet from them about ALT. It's alanine transaminase. It's an enzyme found in the liver that helps to convert proteins into energy for the liver cells. It's found in the bloodstream, and elevated levels can sometimes indicate that the liver has been injured. And so I'm like, what? I mean, I don't have any sort of history with liver problems, and I live a healthy lifestyle. It says there's some possible causes of an unacceptable or elevated ALT level. And those common causes are over-the-counter pain medications such as acetaminophen or ibuprofen, certain prescription medications such as those that lower cholesterol, certain herbal supplements, excessive alcohol intake, obesity, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, hepatitis, and hereditary hemochromatosis. None of those things apply to me. I mean, even the, taking Tylenol or ibuprofen, I don't do that hardly ever. And so I was confused by this, and they said, well, another cause is possibly intense exercising. And I mean, I probably should work out even more than I do currently, but when I do try to, work hard and get a good workout in. And so I thought, okay, maybe that's the case. But what their policy was at the time is that if you have elevated ALT once, they'll tell you about it, and I think they'll let you donate again, but they're going to check and screen your plasma again for those elevated ALT levels. If it happens twice, you might be deferred for a little while, at least until they get, and I'm not exactly sure how the timing for each one of those, results of having an elevated ALT level was, but long story short, if I got 4, results for my plasma donations back in a row that said I had elevated ALT, I would be permanently deferred from donating plasma. So one of those steps in there is like, okay, maybe 3 times in a row, you're deferred for a month, then you can come back and try again. But if it's a 4th time, you're permanently deferred. You can no longer donate plasma ever in your life. And so I was pretty freaked out, like, what the heck? Because none of these things applied to me. I don't, none of those things that I listed off I ever do would or have ever applied to me. And so it's just really, really weird. But I decided, you know what, I'm just going to keep living my life, doing what I'm doing. Even though it was kind of alarming to say this is kind of evidence that your liver might be injured. But long story short, what happened was I kept donating plasma. I kept living life, and never have I had an ALT test come back more than twice in a row elevated, and it's been rare when it has happened. It's not like it's every other time, but I have been pulled aside, in my years of donating, maybe 3 or 4 times total about this and given this information. So it's just interesting to know there's things that you might not be expecting that they test for your health and safety, obviously, that these plasma centers are looking out for you. They don't want you to donate and have it be extra detrimental to your health. And that being said, I'm actually going to make a video in the future going over some of the health risks or complications or side effects that can come from donating plasma. This isn't something that I've studied, you know, exhaustively on my end. Obviously they have paperwork like this is what can happen if you donate plasma, these are the risks. But I'm interested in looking into more like scientific journals and like research studies about long-term effects of donating plasma, things that the plasma centers aren't necessarily going to be super open about or just offer to you right off the bat, because it's not necessary that they do that, I guess. But I want to know, you know, is it dangerous? Because a lot of people like me go twice a week and maybe even do this for years. So if it is a risk, which a lot of people think it is, then it's good to know that. So anyway, if you want to know that information, if you want to have a good video summary of some of these long-term risks, please subscribe, because I do plan on making that in the future. That being said, there's good news. If you've ever had a similar situation where they're like, hey, your ALT levels are high, Grifols at least has changed their policy on this, which makes a lot more sense. And I assume other plasma centers have the same policy or a very similar one. But right now it says most of the time, you know, when these results come back positive, the ALT enzymes are only mildly and temporarily elevated. And so it just says if you've had 4 consecutive ALT tests, you will be temporarily deferred from donation until you've been evaluated by your healthcare provider. You basically have to go see a doctor, have them check you out, make sure your liver's good to go, and they'll give you a doctor's note and you can resume donating. So no such thing as permanent deferral for ALT levels being increased. Obviously there's things that can happen to you in your life where you could be permanently deferred and no longer eligible to donate plasma ever. But that is my story as to how that almost happened to me, which again, I felt like was so weird because I don't have any history of liver damage and I'm still doing good, thank goodness. But yeah, I mean, it's good to know that the plasma centers are at least looking out for your health and for the health of the people receiving your plasma. But I thought that would be an interesting story to share with you. So thank you for watching. I hope this was a little bit informative for you. Please leave in the comments if you have any recommendations or things you'd like to learn about in a future video. I want to provide good information for you. Don't want to waste your time. So appreciate the comments I have received in the past, and please consider subscribing and leaving a like on the video. But with that, we will see you in the next one.